The scenario they've been worried about for years, record flooding on the Clark Fork River, putting extra pressure on the old holding ponds at the Smurfit Stone mill site, raising the chances of tons of contamination rushing downstream.
And now Missoula County authorities are watching closely for any sign of a major environmental problem breaking free during this high water. For years, Missoula County and the Clark Fork Coalition have worried about the security of the earthen berms which separate the holding ponds from the river channel. Those concerns have been especially heightened since the mill quit operating in 2009, saying there's been no regular maintenance. The fear is the ponds, which were used to cool water for mill operations, could fail, sending contaminants into the Clark Fork and downstream for miles. The Environmental Protection Agency is assessing that risk, but county leaders are worried flooding could breach the ponds before the site is cleaned up.
As you look at an aerial photo and how that river is really constrained at that point, it puts a lot of pressure on those berms, and they're holding back some things that we don't want to see eroded.
And that's been the question mark since the floods of 2011. The Environmental Protection Agency has been studying much of the contamination on the mill site itself and declaring most of the surrounding lands clean. Yet Missoula County leaders have continually pressed for more information about the holding ponds, their proximity to the Clark Fork, and pressed for better studies on the condition of the earthworks and how far contaminants could spread if there is a breach.
And what potential risk this site holds. Certainly one of those risks are what happens if the burn fails and 53 years of industrial waste is washed downstream. What effect does that have on the ecosystem? What effect does it have on human health?
What has the county worried is not just the river overtopping the levees, but what happens if those structures are breached. The county says there's no clear indication as to how far downstream the contaminants might go. Ross admits there's not much that can be done now during a flood, but the county would expect EPA to step in if an emergency develops.
We're concerned that this particular exposure pathway has not been adequately reviewed, and we're getting a taste of what those potential impacts could be. It's certainly making a lot of people nervous.
Now, Ross tells me the county has been watching the berms closely for the past few weeks as the Clark Fork has been rising, and they'll continue to monitor conditions.